Alrighty, thank you very much for joining our NetDispatcher webinar. If there are any problems with the video or the audio, please go ahead and type it down here in the question section, and I'll be able to see the message pop up here in case there are any technical difficulties. Alrighty, so for our first webinar, we're going to do a simple overview of our field service process. This meeting about 30 minutes in length, and then afterwards we will have a Q&A, a little 15-minute Q&A. But if you would like to talk at a different time, I will have my contact information up on the screen at the end of this webinar. You can either email or call me, and I'll be able to assist you with any questions or comments you may have regarding NetDispatcher. So we'll go ahead and get started as it is after 10:30. So we're going to talk about NetDispatcher today, of course, and what is this field service management software? So basically our software is catered and tailored more so for a lot of landscaping, HVAC, cleaning and plumbing companies. However, with our newest version, we're seeing that a lot of other companies, including machine companies, services outside of landscaping and HVAC are starting to use our software because of how easy and how customizable it is when it comes down to every asset of the system. So what does NetDispatcher include? Well, we do have a sales section in our software, which does CRM. We do have an estimation section where you can build proposals and quotes, which you can then send out to your customers from the system itself. Work orders, invoices, we have customizable reporting, client management. Our newer features are Form Builder, which allows you to build all the templates in the system. So if you want to build customer cards, asset cards, work orders, estimates, invoices, you have the ability and freedom to build and design how you would like to see those. And also another great feature is we have the ability to integrate with many different types of accounting software, over 65 currently, including QuickBooks and Sage. So today, like I said, we're going to be going over the field service process. We're going to talk a little bit about sales and leads and estimation, how our form builder can better assist you in your company. And then we're also going to be talking about the scheduling and how it's going to be looking on the technician's mobile device when they are in the field. So sales and estimation. So our sales and leads, this is where you build your sales projects. So let's say we have a new prospective customer that's wanting to get some more information or quote. Many of our customers use this section to build these projects, to keep better track of what's going on in the project, what's going to be done for this project, and any costs that are going to go into this project. Once again, it is a completely customizable template that you can design yourself. It's a great way doing these sales projects, a great way to track the status of these projects, which you can actually change the name of these statuses. They're defaulted right now. However, you can alter them to say what you would like to see up there. As admin or an individual, you can set sales goals, and you can track these sales goals based off of and you can also build Alrighty, my apologies about that. Technical difficulties, so we'll go ahead and get back into this. Like I was mentioning before, you'll be able to see all your sales projects, past and present sales projects down here. And if we wanted to open a new one, all we would have to do is click the new lead up here, or we could go ahead and access one of our sales projects that are currently open. So here we have a sales project built for Mr. Money McFly. Just to kind of reiterate, this template is completely customizable. So if you wanted these fields to be moved around in a different order, or you wanted to rename them, you do have the ability to do so. And also throughout the entire sales project, you can continue to add new information as you go along, and it'll update with that project every time. To change the status of the project, all you would have to do is just click on the buttons up here. Now let's say that Mr. McFly would like to go into creating an estimate. Well, we want to get a proposal for Mr. McFly, so we're going to go ahead and click the Edit Estimate button down here without actually having to leave the sales section itself. So we could click on the Edit Estimate. And as you can see, it's going to transfer all of our information that we had from the sales project conveniently into the estimate for us. And once again, if you have to add any more information, you can do so. You have the ability that you can have a materials database, a materials and products database in the system, and you can put a materials list on any template that you would like, including the customer card, so that you could actually have customer specific pricing. And all you would have to do is just start typing in, and it'll search the database, or if you wanted to, you could type in manually any new materials or products that may not be in the system. And then to add a new line, it's as simple as just clicking the green button right there, and you could go ahead and begin adding a new material. And I know some people have asked about this, but is there any way to reorder this? So maybe you typed it all in, but you want to reorder these materials. Yes, you do have the ability to reorganize how these materials are set up by dragging from the blue lines and putting things into a new order that makes sense to you. And then as you can see, we also got the asset information down here. Assets in NetDispatcher are pretty much units or pieces of equipment or property that you would like to be attached to a specific customer. So from here, we can either save and close this estimate, we can save and send, or we can open up in our reporting to see how it's going to look whenever we print it out. So an example of a work order estimate would be something like this that we customize and build for you. You would just give us an example of your current quote that you have, or invoice, or work order, because we do the three in the system included in the implementation and setup cost. So this is just an example of one of our customers' quotes. As you can see, we could put logos in there, any type of information, and all this information automatically populates based off of the estimate that you're looking at. So since we were looking at this last estimate right here, whenever we hit the open reporting, it's only going to open it for this one. And then you'll see that all the materials will get transferred over. And we can put little footer information down here as well. So let's say Mr. McFly approves of this proposal and he wants to move through. Well, instead of having to back out and go all the way to the job section again, we can actually go ahead and process this estimate straight into a work order. And it's great because your sales team has the ability to go all the way from creating a sales project through an estimate all the way into jobs without actually having to leave the section itself. So we could go ahead and hit process. And it's going to ask what type of job do you want to build? Do you want to make it a single job, or do you want to make it a service agreement? Service agreement we'll be talking about in a future webinar. And it's going to give you your drop-down list of all the templates that you have built for jobs. So you can go ahead and select which one you want. We'll select AC repair, and we'll click continue. And once again, all the information from the estimate section will be transferred over into the work order without you having to add the information yourself. So from here, all we would have to do is go ahead and put in what type of service it is, who we want to assign it to, and completed time, and then any other information we think our technician is going to want to see in the field. With our work orders, with all of our templates, actually, you have the ability to do over 21 different widget types. So as you can see, some of these are just text areas. Some of them, like these ones right here, are input fields. We got search fields. You can have website links attached to these templates. You could do checklist, drop down, and also any sort of attachments. So either the person on the desktop would be able to attach something to this work order for the technician to see in the field, or the technician, when they're opening up the work order on their mobile device, they'll be able to see that attachment, and they'll be able to add one themselves. Go ahead and click Save. And that is going to save the work order for us in the system, and it's going to take us back into the estimate, which we could just do Save and Close, and then Save and Close with the sales project. So now, since we've made that job for Marty McFly, we can see that it's now going to show up in our scheduler. The scheduler and dispatcher section is the heart of NetDispatcher, hence the name. This entire view, this layout is user specific when it comes to customizing how you want to see everything. So you can change the layout in a few different ways, as you can see here, and you can change it based off of what is your preference. Change it, it's as simple as that. You can change the size of each one. We'll just go back into the original. So this scheduler, let's say that Mr. John Fred down here is not going to be coming in today. So we need to reassign this work order to somebody. Well, you can do that one of three ways. You could go back into the job section, open that work order, and change who it's assigned to. You can actually double click on the icon itself here in the scheduler, and it'll bring up the work order for you, and you can change who it's assigned to. Or my personal favorite, you have the ability to drag and drop to a new person. And then also, if you wanted to change the time, you could do so as well. So we're going to go ahead and leave it on John Fred. And we can see that this job, based off of the color, it's indicating that this job has been sent out, which means that it's going to be on the technician's mobile device. So we're going to go ahead and look at the mobile section real quick. This is how it's going to look whenever the technician opens the mobile application in the field. They're going to be able to access their jobs by simply clicking on the jobs icon. And this is going to open up their dispatch board. And it's going to break it up into 4 different sections. You got your in progress, your dispatched, paused, and completed jobs. So let's say we had a job from a few days ago that still has not been worked on. That job is going to carry over into this dispatch section until that job is actually started or completed. You can change the date if you want to go back to any past or future work orders. You can do so by clicking on the date icon up here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go into this work order and see how it looks on the technician side. So this is how the work order is going to look in the mobile. So John Fred, when he's looking at his mobile device, he's going to be able to see all the information that was on the work order on the desktop view. So we can see the scheduled time of when I'm supposed to get out to this job, the service that needs to be rendered, any sort of job description, service total. This is going to be based off of the service price that you set in the system. So let's say after John Fred has looked over everything in the system, he wants to go ahead and start the job. So all he would have to do is just click the start button right here. And this job is now started and in live time on the scheduler on the desktop view. The icon will change to blue, notifying you that the job has now been started. You do not have to refresh this page. This page is constantly refreshing itself and updating whenever there are changes throughout the entire system. So let's say that Mr. John Fred needs to make some changes to this work order. He needs to go through this checklist, or he needs to add an attachment. It's a simple process for him to follow. You would just have to click on the actions, and you'll click on the edit. From here, you go in and change the information, and as well as doing any sort of checklist, and then adding any sort of attachments. So we can go ahead and put in the new attachment, and that attachment is now going to follow through this work order. All the technician would have to do is just click the save button to save all the changes that that person just made. And he's ready to continue on. So let's say that our worker is either going on a lunch break, or maybe this is a pretty lengthy job that's going to extend a few days. Your worker does have the ability to pause this job that you could see on the time cards, so you know whenever the person paused or completed the job for whatever reason. So we could go ahead and click the pause here to show you how this is going to look on the scheduler. As you can see, it's going to turn to black, notifying you that the job has been paused. So let's say the worker goes home for the evening, comes back the next day to continue his work. All he would have to do is go back into his dispatch board, go to the job, and click continue. All right, let's say from here, John Fred is done with the job. We could go ahead and click the complete button now. And once again, this is going to update on the schedule board. And we'll see that it turns to green, notifying us that the job has been finished. All righty. So that is the process from when we go to sales all the way through to scheduling out a work order and showing you how it's going to look on the mobile. So now we're going to go into form building, and I'm going to tell you why this form builder is a huge asset in our software and how it can help you and your company. How can the form builder help you? It is completely customizable. The entire thing can be edited down to the last detail that you want to see. Like I mentioned, it has over 21 different widget types, including the input field, text area, checklist, drop-down, attachments. One of our new widget types is actually formulas. So much like the formulas you build in your Excel files, those transfer over and can be put into our system now. And also we have a new feature of GPS location. You would be able to type in the customer's address in this box and select from the drop-down where that location is, and then you could just click the map icon that is adjacent to this field, and you would be able to see exactly where on the map this location is at. All fields can be adjusted by size. We have a nice drag and drop feature that's really simple to move the fields around. And the great thing is that there is no limit to how many templates you can build in the system. Different work orders, you have the ability to do that. And same with the customer cards. You can have as many different customer templates as you like. So we're going to go in and look at how we would go about getting into the form builder. Not going to go into too much of detail today. This is going to be saved for another webinar because it's usually a little bit lengthier. So I'm just going to show you how we would access this form builder and what it's going to do into it. So from any of the list view that you see, you're going to have this list view in the estimate, jobs, invoicing, customer, asset, materials, all those different sections. So if you have to access any of the templates, all you have to do is just click on the gear icon here in the top right. Forms. When you click on the edit forms, it's going to show you all of the forms that you have built for this section alone. So as you can see, we have a few different work orders in here that I've built throughout. Automatically in the system, you'll get defaults depending whether you start a landscaping or HVAC, you'll follow with you. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on one that we want to edit. As our form builder. So this is how the form builder is going to look. Kind of looks a little confusing at first. However, when you start getting through the process, you're going to become a pro at this in no time. So like I was talking about, you do have the ability to adjust your fields based off of size simply by clicking in the bottom right corner and adjusting the size of the field. And then once again, we got our drag and drop feature. We wanted to put fields in a different order. simply just drag and drop where you would like these new fields to go. And then also, you could select from fields that are already in the system over here on the right side. So instead of actually having to create that new field, all you have to do is just click from the list over here, that field down here at the bottom for you. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you what it's going to look like when we create a new field. So when we create a new field, simply just click on the Create a New Field button. We could give it a name. And you can see all the different types that I was going through: the input, text area, drop down, checkbox, attachments, things of that nature. So we're just going to do a simple input field, default to test. And the great thing is that you could actually make these fields read only or required. You could set specifics on these fields. So let's say we just want to make this a read only field so that the technician in the field won't be able to edit this. So we can select that. And then operative type and group type. This is where it gets a little bit more difficult. We'll explain that a little bit later in our next webinar when we talk about form building and the process of how to do that. We'll go ahead and click ready. And we have our new field now that you can adjust in size and move around wherever you would like. All right. Well, that is going to conclude our webinar today. If anybody has any questions or any comments to me at this email address or this phone number here, I would be more than happy to assist you with anything that you have. If you would like a more in-depth demo, those demos that we offer to those that are requesting it, we usually do about, or maybe a little bit more of a demo, just to kind of give you an entire feel for the system. These webinars we're going to be doing are going to be about 30 minutes in length. So we're not going to get much into detail. We just kind of want to graze the surface to give you an idea of what there is to offer. And maybe if it's something you like, we could go through with the demo and you could get more of an in-depth look and get a little bit more of the specifics that we have. So like I said, this is my contact information. I'm the implementation specialist here with NetDispatcher. You can contact me at john.frederick@netdispatcher.com or this phone number, 832-341-9646. In case any of y'all are out outside the United States, in a different country, we are here located in Houston, Texas, in the United States. That is where the CEO and myself are. Our support team, however, is located in Finland. NetDispatcher, our software, is actually used in right now. We have resellers in 7 different countries, and I think we're reselling right now to customers in about 30 different countries right now. So like I said, just go ahead and contact me with any questions that you might have through this email, or you may call me for any questions that people posted. All right. Well, it seems that there was bad audio. I know we had the internet go down there for a second, but I got it started back up. So hopefully that didn't interrupt too much. So our next webinar is going to be in 2 weeks. We will have another sign up for it, of which we will send out reminder emails periodically to remind you of the webinar that we have. That concludes our webinar today. Like I said, just contact me if you have any questions, and I'll be more than happy to help out. I'll leave this screen up for a minute just in case you need to get the contact info a little bit more. Thank you. All right. All right. Thank you very much. And y'all have a great rest of your day.